In today's video, we will be going over the Phase 2 or second half installation of a Coverstar automatic safety cover on a vinyl liner pool. We highly recommend reviewing all of your on-site materials to ensure that everything is present for the installation. Open the long boxes and compare to the work order. It is also recommended to give the job site a walk around or overview to verify readiness. There should be water in the pool, drainage installed, and electrical to the cover housing. Once you've completed the initial review, you can now begin by carefully removing the lid, setting it aside, away from potential damage. Look for excess concrete or damage. Confirm the measurements of the pool. You'll do this by measuring the track space, as well as the length of the pool. Cross-reference with the cover box for proper dimensions. Next, remove lid brackets from the housing and set aside. Remove the backfill support braces left over from the first half. These braces help to keep the box squared during the deck construction and are no longer needed. Next, remove any debris left in the box. You may flush out the box with water to rid of sediment or debris. Verify that there is 1 inch of encapsulation inside of the box. Once confirmed, trim the L-shaped encapsulation concrete bracing flush with the wall of the pool using a saw as shown. Alternatively, use supplied A0407 retainer bracket. This cut allows for the quick attach bracket plate to seat properly within the channel. Repeat this step on the opposite side. To ensure proper installation, clean out the encapsulation channels using water and a brush. Next, lay out the track hardware on each side of the pool, the guide feed, end pulleys, and splices, ensuring all hardware is present, along with the track. To trim the track to the appropriate length, begin by installing the end pulleys at the end of the track on each side. Next, insert the track into the encapsulation, ensuring that the pulley is seated against the end wall within the channel. For the second piece, align the end of the first piece. Start with a rough cut of the excess track. We recommend using a circular saw. Insert the track into the encapsulation, flush with the first piece. Now measure 1 inch from the encapsulation starting at the pool side of the box and mark. Remove the track and cut to length using a saw. Place the track back on top of the deck for the next steps. Repeat this on the other side. Assemble track. Insert the 2 roll pins into the roll pin channels. Use a hammer to press them into place, leaving half of the pin exposed. Insert the splice into the center channel. Join both pieces of track. Using a mallet, lightly drive the two together until nearly seamless at the joining location. Ensure that you are striking the end pulley housing and not the track itself. Using a thin tool, space the slice evenly within the track. Leave the track on top of the deck for later installation. Repeat this process on the other side. Mechanism assembly. Begin by setting the motor and non-motor ends at the respective ends of the pool behind the housing, with hardware located in the A0331 box. Next, place the roll-up tube between the motor ends. Secure the 3/8 by 1 1/4 bolts or A1865. Attach the roll-up tube to the cone using a 9/16 wrench, ratchet, or drill and socket. Repeat this process on the non-motor end. Turn the mechanism upside down. Install the feet on both ends using the carriage bolts and nylock nuts provided. Install the A0304 feet at the highest point, if using a polymer housing. Note how the feet are oriented in the video, as well as the method of securing. The head of the bolts should be inside with the rope reel. Once the feet are installed, rotate the motor and non-motor ends to the correct orientation as needed. Loosen the pulley assemblies and prepare to lower the mechanism into the housing, roughly in the position where it will be anchored. There are 2 nuts on the non-motor end and 4 on the motor end. Adjust and position the mechanism. Slide the pulley assembly into the quick attach plates as shown and anchor. There are 2 nuts and 2 bolts on each side of the quick attach plates mounting points. Be careful not to over-torque these mounting points during the installation. Having a 90-degree drill adapter will help in reaching some of the hard-to-reach nuts and bolts. Once in place, you will need to adjust the position of the mechanism from side to side. A quick tip: use a 12-inch extension bit or other straight edge to align the backside of the encapsulation with the outside of the first pulley. Next, center the mechanism from front to back. Anchor the motor and non-motor end brackets into the housing with the supplied hardware. Tighten the pulley assembly brackets that we loosened earlier. Follow the same steps on the other side. Reminder that the motor end will have 4 nuts versus 2 on the non-motor end. Anchor the mechanism's feet to the housing using A1718 hardware from the A0331 box in the outermost holes. Using a long extension bit makes this part easier. On the motor and non-motor side, use a 3/16 drill bit and drill through the cross braces. To secure, use the 1/2-inch A1873 screws and A1871 nylock nuts provided and bolt the cross braces together in 2 places on each cross bracket. Try to space them out as wide as possible. Repeat these steps on the other side. Wiring the mechanism. Make sure power is turned off at the breaker before handling any electrical components. Locate the incoming wires from the junction box. Attach the copper bond wire to the designated mounting point. Next, trim each wire sheath back about 1/4 inch. Feed the wires through the front cover and mount to the threaded connector, and include the gasket. Match the wires and connect them using the supplied wire nuts. Neatly gather the wires into the junction box. Secure the lid with the supplied hardware. Wiring the switch. Mount the switch where you can see the entire pool and about 5 feet off the ground. Begin by looping the ground wire around the green screw, located center back of the switch. Twist together these 3 wires using a wire nut. Neutral from power supply. Neutral from motor. Pre-cut neutral wire from the indicator light. Attach the other leg from the indicator light and the directional wire to terminal A1 and tighten the screw. Connect the other directional wire to terminal B1, then tighten. Insert the hot wire from the power supply into terminal L1 on the back of the switch and tighten the screw. Mount the faceplate to the junction box with the provided hardware. If the pool cover runs the wrong way, swap the 2 directional wires on A1 and B1. Double-check connections before turning on power. For more information, refer to the provided instructions. Now it is time to prepare the cover for installation. Note: when opening the box, carefully cut the bands, not into the box, as you may damage the cover. This is not covered under the fabric warranty. Begin by standing behind the housing, looking over the pool, and unroll the cover from left to right. Routing ropes instructions. Unroll the ropes completely, visually inspecting them for twisting or damage. The next step is to run the ropes through the track. The preferred method is to take a short length of the rope outside of the track and press it into the track on the water side. Hold the rope outside the track to pull the rope down the length of the track toward the end of the pool. Feed the rope through the end pulley assembly, and pull the rope through the back of the track using the same method. This is made easier with one person controlling the rope as it feeds into the track. Repeat these steps on the other side. Shown are two methods of installing track into the encapsulation. The two-person method begins by having a technician at each end of the track. The installer, near the end of the pool, inserts the track into the encapsulation. The secondary installer places the rest of the track into the encapsulation. Make sure the track is fully seated into the end wall. Now, insert the shim under the installed track using a rubber mallet from one end of the pool back to the housing. A one-person install begins by positioning the track onto the wall cap, allowing you to insert the other side into the encapsulation. Once secured at one end, continue to slot the track down the edge of the pool until completely inserted. Repeat the same steps of installing the shim on the underside of the track as in Method 1. Routing ropes through housing/mechanism. Once the track has been installed, run the rope through the pulleys. Be sure not to cross the ropes around each other on the motor side pulleys. Pull the non-motor end rope through at the last pulley. Next, you'll run the rope through to the second pulley. Secure the track with HO331 screw. Pilot a hole through the encapsulation and track with a 3/16 drill bit. Secure using a mechanism screw through that same hole until flush. Be careful not to break the screw while installing. This may require that you drive the screw partially in, then back out numerous times until it is fully seated against the top of the encapsulation. Repeat on the non-motor end. If using the 2.5 rectangular leading edge, install the black cap onto the end, before pushing the leading edge through the loop. Not doing so runs the risk of tearing the material. With one hand holding the edge of the loop, use the other hand to feed the leading edge through the loop. Once the leading edge is in the loop, install the inserts and connect to the slider using the supplied hardware in the A1678 insert kit. To pin the grounding wire to the leading edge, remove the 2-hole backing plate and route the wire between the screws. Reinstall the backing plate over the wire. Pull the cover material back until it is aligned with the end of the leading edge bar. Try to put the screw within a ½ inch from the end of the leading edge so it goes into the plastic of the cap. Store the remaining wire within the loop of the fabric. Follow the same process on the other side. Insert the cover sliders into the tracks. Install the guide feed into the track. Drill a hole using 3/16 bit and secure using a 5/32 Allen key. Now pull the leading edge back until it rests against the guide feed on each end. Distribute cover slack across the leading edge. Trim ropes to length. With the cover completely against stops, it is time to measure and cut the ropes to length. With the ropes taut, stand on them where they intersect with the leading edge, and then cut them to a minimum of 5 feet long. Use a torch at the cut location to prevent fraying. Connect the ropes to the rope reel. Make sure to feed the ends into the rope reel channel towards the water or pool. Secure using the set screw. Now one person will hold the ropes taut as another person runs the motor in the closed direction from the controller. Do this until the extra rope has wrapped around the reel. Be careful not to get anything caught in the rope while it is being wrapped. Pin cover to roll-up tube. Cut the excess bead from the cover, being careful not to cut the cover itself. Align the bead of the cover as it comes out of the track to the tube. There should be a 1.5-inch overhang. Fasten to the roll tube using HO313 screws found in the A1864 package. Pin with HO313 screws. Center the slack between each screw. Pin. Repeat on the opposite side of the center screw. There should be a minimum of 7 screws total. Hand roll the excess cover onto the tube, ensuring there are no folds. Center slack on the roll tube, being careful to avoid creases. Open the cover. Make adjustments to the ropes and brakes as needed. Run cover 5 times before adjusting rope and torque limiter. Close the cover. Watch for uneven movement. Install end wall filler strip. Insert the first piece of filler strip into the encapsulation. Mark the second piece where they overlap. Install the second piece and mark where they overlap. Cut the second piece using a circular saw. Insert both pieces and install shim. If shim is too long, score with a knife and snap off excess amount. Final steps. Provide the homeowner with instruction manuals, patch kits, and any other accessories. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your Coverstar representative today.